It is match day in the nation's capital, and tonight Loudoun United looking to defend Audi Field for their final match before they have their own stadium to call home. But tonight the task is tall, as the two-time defending USL champions Louisville City FC are in town. It's Poppy Miller alongside the ex-German pro Devon Kerr. Tonight's game is presented by the National Conference Centre. And Devon, Louisville took all 3 points from Loudoun when these two teams last met, with a very young Loudoun side. What's got to be key against John Hackworth's experienced team?
It's going to be the message that you're going to hear on a regular basis tonight for Lou City. It's starting fast and then maintaining that form. Too often we've seen them having to crawl from behind. That wasn't the case against Loudoun United. Keep an eye on the amount of shots. 28 for Lou City, 12 for Loudoun United. They were peppering the back of the net. It'll be an interesting task at hand for Earl Edwards tonight.
And as always, with an MLS affiliate, an unpredictable lineup, but one thing we do know for sure, Earl Edwards Jr. gets the starting goal tonight.
Very talented goalkeeper that seems like just came out of UCLA, though it is his 5th year as a professional. No longer fit into the plans under James O'Connor in Orlando City. However, Ben Olsen thought that was a great pickup for DC United. He's on loan with Loudoun United tonight, and with 5 players 21 years of age or younger in this lineup, it's great to have veteran leadership starting from the back going forward.
And for Louisville, though it hasn't been smooth sailing as of late, conceding the first goal in their last 6 games with just 1 win in their last 6 as well.
There's 2 teams in the Eastern Conference that are really struggling this right now. It's Hartford Athletic and Louisville City. Both of them seem to take 30 to 40 minutes and fall behind until they get going. And that cannot be the case for Hackworth's squad tonight. For them to go up against a very young but experienced team in the likes of Loudoun United, they need to get out quick and really impose their will. John Hackworth said, listen, we can't worry about what's going on the other side of the pitch. We have to dictate the terms. They have not been able to do that in the early goings of their recent matches.
With the playoff race looming on the horizon, both teams looking to pocket 3 points tonight. It's Loudoun United taking on Louisville City FC. Sunday night football, kickoff just around the corner. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to Audi Field for tonight's USL Championship matches. Poppy Miller alongside the ex-German pro Devon Kerr. Tonight's broadcast is presented by the National Conference Centre. Well, Devon, a big match for both these sides tonight that have struggled with the run of form as of late. Let's take a look at tonight's starting lineups, and we'll start with the home side for Loudoun United. Jacob Green makes his debut. Who else stands out there for you?
It's quite interesting. Someone that you're quite familiar with, Gordon Wild, getting the opportunity. Being picked up by the DC United organization, he will come on loan after leaving Atlanta United. So an opportunity for him to continue his career on. What will he do with it? He's one of the ones that does have that experience, although still young in age. Carlos Alvarez coming over in the attacking midfielder position. Really like the movement we've seen out of Orlando Sinclair on the right. And of course, always looking to find a way to get Kyle Murphy involved in the run going forward. When you take a look at the visitors, the brain trust that is John Hackworth and co. have switched things up once again. They have turned in a 4-back system on the lineup card. Francis going back into that position after coming back from Gold Cup. And how about Luke Spencer? Can they find a way to start pumping the back of the net? That's been the issue here. They're creating a massive amount of chances. Top in the USL Championship. Unfortunately, their conversion rate is hovering right around 10%. That's second or third worst as we look at it right now. That cannot be the case. Davis and McCabe will obviously flip side to side. Masoso and Williams in the middle, holding tempo going forward.
And of course, Spencer, the man up top. And obviously, we spoke to John Hackworth earlier this week. The key for Louisville tonight, be proactive from the kickoff. Rasmussen, the man over the dead ball, ready to get us away from Audi Field for Sunday Night Soccer. Thank you so much for joining us for tonight's match, wherever you are. Louisville looking to get off to a flying start. Magnus Rasmussen, the one to get us underway. And Devon, that is the key for the visitors, but what's got to be key for this young home side tonight?
One of the biggest things that they've been so successful at is remaining relevant in matches. Ryan Martin will tell you that this has a squad, plenty of talent. The problem is can they execute on a regular basis? They had a nice little run at the front of it. Unfortunately, that's drifted away from them recently. It's gotten into the 2 and 3 goal zone. That's quite uncharacteristic of what we saw in matches past. So they just need to find a way to stay within arm's length. If they really could jump on this Louisville squad early. That's been a focal point on the negative side of things for Lou City. Let's go after them early, maybe bag an early goal.
It's a good switch from the back to the far flank. Davis, the fourth, making his way back into the lineup for John Hackworth's side tonight. Rasmussen there in the mix. The referee will give it in favour of the visitors. Quickly taken. Good tempo from Louisville straight out of the blocks. High press to begin with, goes all the way through the back. Now wide Francis, who's just returned from his time with the Reggae Boys on international duty at the Gold Cup. And of course, you're starting to see that across the entire USL Championship. Players coming back from international duty, making such a difference.
And then uncharted territory for some coaches where they're losing those focal points. And then, of course, we're assimilating them into the lineup. The likes of Sean Francis, massive workload in CONCACAF Gold Cup. Speedy Williams involved in that as well. And just how can you find a way to not only move them back in, you don't want to run their bodies into the ground. You have to be able to strategically place them. And of course, Sean Francis did not get the start last time out, earned the shirt back in the 11.
The former MLS goalkeeper there, Earl Edwards Jr. A spell at Orlando City in their affiliate Orlando City B before joining DC. Presley on the run, can't compete. McCabe strolling through the midfield. Spencer lays it off. Out wide, Francis joins in the attack. Another good switch of the flank, finds the path through. It's good from the visitors. Battling to come inside the box. The ground balls there just ran out of greenery on the far side. Loudoun United now looking for a spell of possession on the attack, dispossessed at the back. Jimenez working down that far side.
Higher, Freno.
Zawahi. Francis, the Jamaican international. Speedy Williams be the creator in the middle, as well as that man Magnus Rasmussen, the Danish midfielder who returns to Louisville after spending a year in Denmark. Patience from the visitors, well worked. Final ball just missing though. Well, after talking to Ryan Martin as well earlier this week, he's pleased with how things are going. Good tempo, and of course after that midweek friendly against Marseille, everybody's spirits high coming into tonight's game.
An opportunity to Some of the big boys in the likes of Earl Edwards Jr., Carlos Alvarez, and Gordon Wild to get involved in the run of play as well. Continues this confidence in the squad that is Loudoun United recently. Ryan Martin coming over and in charge of so many of the youngsters through the academy, really takes pride in that. His ability to grow from within, push them up through the ranks. And now just an opportunity to showcase himself at a senior level.
Here's an opportunity, it's McCabe. Inside the box, dispossessed at the last minute. The strike is there, just wide off the target. Not a bad effort from Sean Francis in the early going.
Surprised Francis actually gets this off. There's a late run from Nelson Martinez in the holding midfielder position coming over. And watch him go to ground. Francis does a great job to pull the trigger here. Felt like Niall McCabe should have let this one loose. Gets away from him. But the Jamaican able to pick out the near post. This 100% has Edwards beat if it's on frame.
Let's take a quick look at tonight's injury report presented by Ortho Virginia. Of course, for Loudoun, ideal scenario there, no injuries to report and just the lone injury for the visitors.
Still dealing with that knee and hamstring issue for Paolo Del Piccolo, injured earlier on this year, and felt like they had just found a way to pull all the band-aids off, have a little fun going forward. Of course, their captain goes down once again. And that seems to be the unfortunate circumstances that are this 2019 season for Blue City so far. Injuries to Del Piccolo twice, this one more long-term. Of course, Luke Spencer, George Davis IV earlier on this year. And then guys like Speedy Williams and Sean Francis departing for Gold Cup duty. They've had to rotate into so many different strategic formations going forward. They've found success in it. The problem is hasn't always translated into points, and that is all going back to their lack of ability to close things down in the final third. A lot of chances created, just have not been able to convert on a regular basis.
I know you saw the other ones. I didn't think that one.
Good dink ball over. Pay on the run, does enough to get ahead on it.
The second one,
safety first out of the back.
Play on.
They've been a bit of a mainstay in the back line so far this season for Louisville. Spent the last 2 seasons with Real Salt Lake and most recently with their USL affiliate, Real Monarchs of the USL. Just made the lone MLS appearance. But a couple of MLS veterans for either side out here tonight. Francis for Pay. Oscar Jimenez gets his pocket pick there. Good pressure from Orlando Sinclair. A couple of youngsters, like we mentioned earlier in the broadcast, for the home side, Devin. How do they rise to the occasion with all the experience of Louisville?
Well, the good news is you kind of alluded to it before, that they are surrounded with guys who have had repetitions at a higher level and on a regular basis as well. So now you feed off of that. More importantly, it's just the confidence, the opening 10, 15 minutes remaining settled, putting the ball on the deck and not getting it around. You're already seeing that. This is a team that is not afraid to go toe-to-toe with some of the best in the Eastern Conference. And they are making a playoff push right now, hovering just below the line, and an opportunity today to make a statement victory against the back-to-back champs.
And of course, these two teams have already met once this season. It was the beginning of last month. Louisville taking the 2-1 win, in the end. But Loudoun really did make them play for it.
That was a stretch where Louisville City was a bit more comfortable within their surroundings. They had some quality runs of results. He would eventually lose to Indy 11 the next match, but prior to that, he would get a chance to really showcase themselves against some of the better ones. They came off that loss to Red Bull, took down the Charleston Battery. That interesting 10-man draw on the road against the Bethlehem Steel that we're all still trying to figure out. And then the game before is an interesting one. May 18th, and I brought this up to John Hackritz. I said, Coach, you know, you guys have struggled in certain areas, mainly in the final third. You've dealt with injuries, and we've already talked about that so far. But is the best game that we've seen this year the matchup against St. Louis in that 0-0 draw? He said, yeah, you're probably right. I've liked some spurts, especially in the second half against the Tampa Bay Rowdies. Felt the 0-0 draw with Indy 11 was a good one as well. Excuse me, 1-1. But they just needed to find a way to get out of the blocks a bit earlier. They were doing that at the beginning of the season. That just hasn't been the case. And it all goes back to the fact that they are creating chances. You would be more concerned if there wasn't movement into the final third, and if you didn't get Spencer on the ball or overlapping runs from Niall McCabe, distribution from Jimenez, but that's not the case.
In comes the ball to the box, no worries at the back for Earl Edwards Jr. Catching practice. Luke Spencer looming around him, who's in his third season with the side. Last season, of course, if you remember, took on an unexpected role after the departure of James O'Connor. 3 players stepping in as that player coach. Just shows the experience that they have on their side.
It's culture for them as well, getting the opportunity to chat with those gentlemen at the 2018 USL Cup final. You really can see how composed they are, and they take pride in it. John Hackworth brought that up not only at the end of last season, but coming in this year, and how with departures to Gold Cup and injuries, it would be very easy for this organization to go out and just get another player, grab someone on loan, sign someone. That's not the case, though. They like to promote from within, and they're very proud of what they've been able to do in this roster assembly. So it gives an opportunity for guys on the backside of things to step up and take advantage of those chances. Guys like Jeff D in the middle of the field coming over after his time with Louisville Cardinals, first-year pro. Hasn't been a lot, but they think that he's bought into everything that John Hackworth is putting up. You get youngsters like Elijah Winder, who's coming over, one of the academy guys, and you just continue this push going forward. That's why when someone does come back, it truly is a family. That doesn't exactly resound around this entire USL Championship, so you have to take credit for what they've been able to create here.
Alvarez to the back post. Good work from Jimenez. Straight into the hands of Hubbard, who's really getting into the swing of his season now after an injury. Made his way back around the time of Open Cup play and has found some consistency ever since. Launches one into the attack, Spencer. Rasmussen to pick up the seconds. McCabe into Speedy Williams. It's patient from the visitors. Davis the fourth with greenery in front of him. Orlando Sinclair there, but couldn't catch it in time. Quickly taken. Sawahi finds the feet of Francis. One just runs away from him. Ball for the surface out there tonight, Devon. Doesn't get much better than Audi Field, but you've played, I'm sure, many a times in a situation like this. How difficult is it to rise to the occasion with no atmosphere?
It's hard. You know, I'm quite fortunate with my background that didn't happen that often, but many times there were closed-door scrimmages or even trials. Trialing was probably one of the biggest ones, where you're going out and you have not only your squad that you're trying to showcase for, but the opposition. And it is a bit easier at times from a communication standpoint, but you don't have that raw emotion to feed off of from the fans. So sometimes that just comes from the boys around you being a bit more uplifting. You can already hear some orders being barked from the sideline from John Hackworth to his squad. Ryan Martin's a vocal one as well. He'll get up off the bench, start to stalk the technical area, and let his guys know exactly how he's feeling. The positive comments to continue this push going forward for either side is what will help get you through these matches.
It's Kyle Murphy who dropped back deep into the midfield to try and help generate something there. Gordon Wild as well, roaming all the way over the park. Predominantly will be on the left, but likes to switch to the other flank. Joins the team after a spell with Atlanta United too, and being signed with the MLS defending champions. Here comes a set piece for Loudoun in the early going. And if you are Loudoun, how important are set pieces going to be today against a team like Louisville?
Especially for a team that's kind of struggled, to be honest, in their marking. That's an area that John Hackworth has been really focusing on, trying to get his boys back into the strategic placement when they get into zonal markings or they go man on man. So just take a breath here. Allow guys like Conver Firth and Harry Hawkins to come up and get the talented ones. Carlos Alvarez can swing it in with the best of them. Gordon Wild's good in set-piece situations with that left foot of his. And put it up, let him go get a chance.
Gordon Wild straight in, has to be punched away by Hubbard. And the referee calling a foul there, but an excellent delivery. You said it, the centre-back, Verfurth, causing some problems in the box. But for Gordon Wild, a delivery like that forced Hubbard to come off his line.
This is a beautiful ball floated in, and always a dangerous one when you're going into an attacking role, whether it be a center back, an attacking midfield. It doesn't matter from these set pieces. You have to keep a watchful eye on where the goalkeeper is. I give credit to Chris Hubbard here. He sets the tone. 15 minutes in, you step into my box, I now own you. He has put fear into the players coming into these opportunities where they will now second guess that ball being floated back across. They've heard the footsteps. Now they're going to look for the shadow that is Chris Hubbard.
Colin Verfurth, the man down, the centre back making his way up for those set piece opportunities. 6'4", Virginia native. Known as a bit of a goal scorer over his years as well with Virginia Tech. 9 goals throughout his collegiate career, most of them on the end of set pieces. Sean Francis there just having a sip. Deceivingly warm temperatures out here tonight, just below 90 degrees. And good sportsmanship from the two there. Everybody up and okay.
Verfurth knew exactly what was going to happen if he went after this one. And again, you give credit to Chris Hubbard for coming off his line and going after the big center back, but Verfurth still gives himself a chance. That's one of the ones where Gordon Wild throws it into the mix and you're just hoping you can redirect it a touch. Of course, the goalkeeper gets to you here, but on the backside of things, they check him out, seems okay. And the two of them more than happy to say well done on both their accounts, pushing after this one.
He is the man we spoke to earlier this week, Ryan Martin. Hubbard to get us back underway. Opts to go short, Speedy Williams. Directly down the middle, out wide to Francis. Pay for Jimenez. A loose one in the middle of the park. And up comes Louisville. Williams. A good knockback, McCabe. Straight looping ball towards the back. Spencer's there. And not there in a good enough position to keep that one in.
Just in between the trailing run of George Davis IV on the backside and Luke Spencer. Neither one had the right angle on it. Davis trying to cut back in, Spencer trying to track back just a little bit. And that's kind of that dysfunctionality that we've seen out of Lou City recently, where there's an opportunity to be had and they're just not clicking when they do move into the attacking third.
Jimenez. It's his 21st start of the season here tonight. Louisville win it back. Luke Spencer. It's a good ball for Nam McCabe. Nam McCabe with a heavy touch and quick off his Lionel Edwards Jr.
Really impressive goalkeeping from both sides. Chris Hubbard on the dead ball on one end, and then Edwards Jr. coming off his line quite rapidly. Now McCabe, unaccustomed to having the ball that far away from his body.
And he jumps.
The sideline, Simon signaling there. Referee waves play on. Connor Presley working his way into the attack from that outside back position, the 21-year-old from Texas. Hey. Didn't ball up the line. Too much pressure from Jimenez.
Some interesting movements coming from Loudoun United, namely in the center of the field. We'll get to that in a second. How about on the other side? Connor Presley on the break, going the other direction, but this was just before the defensive shape we talked about lacking from the youngster on the outside. Gets beat by the speedy Niall McCabe. Unfortunately, that second touch gets away from him.
And here come Loudoun on the attack. It's a good ball through for Murphy. Couldn't quite pick the path out cleanly. Chris Hubbard straight to the races.
This is the shape we're talking about right now, where Carlos Alvarez started in the middle. He's now moved out to the right. Gordon Wild is starting to occupy a more centrally located position underneath Kyle Murphy. Orlando St. Clair gone out to the left, but they are interchanging a lot. And you can see Just on the near side of your screen, Nelson Martinez, number 30. He's sitting just underneath, and even Antonio Bustamante is jumping up here. A lot of times you'll see two holding for the Loudoun United squad. That's not necessarily the case right now. Getting out of their comfort zones from what we've seen in the past and really making Lou City second guess their scouting report that they've worked on all week.
Harry Hawkins, the centre-back, 26 years old. Perhaps one of the most experienced players on this side. The Englishman who came to the States to play collegiate soccer, most recently played with Penn FC. Now a chance now on the attack. Murphy's there. Can Murphy get to it just in time? He does enough. Alvarez with Presley. Presley keeps his footing. In comes the delivery. It's a good ball, but no worries. Just catching practice for Chris Hubbard. So. Davis the fourth. And so far, it's been patient from Louisville.
Not enough movement out of the middle of the field. You need to find a way to get your playmakers on the ball. Both Niall McCabe and George Davis are starting to become the benefactors of the long balls coming out of the back and getting in the one-on-ones down into the channel. What about Magnus Rasmussen in the middle? Masoso or even Speedy moving up. Obviously, the dirty work is done by Masoso and Speedy, but you have to find a way to get those midfield three more involved. They are so vital to this attack going forward. You can start to compress the field in the middle, and that allows the high lines of Oscar Jimenez and Sean Francis to push up. You can hear John Hackworth, if you listen carefully, he's saying Frano higher. When they're starting this attack going forward, he wants his outside backs all the way on the touchline, push high. That'll start to expand the field defensively in the shape of Loudoun United, and then you can start to push the ball down the middle to those attacking players we just referenced.
Earl Edwards Jr. launches one out of the back. The former US Youth International, UCLA product.
Hands up! Go in the middle!
There's a message from both the coaches you were just talking about. Devin McCabe finds some space, can't thread it through for Rasmussen. Murphy on the run, knocks one out wide. Presley's there, cuts one inside. It's still Presley. Ground ball across the box. Nobody home. Bustamante this time. He takes the strike. It hits the post and it's in. Loudoun United to open the scoring against the two-time defending champions.
You're going to start everything back here on a guy that they need to go after a bit more. Connor Presley, really beautiful movement coming out of the backside. Oh, there's your skates for you, Speedy Williams. Got to do much better here. He gets flat-footed. That gets cut grass across the Jamaican. And Connor Presley trying to whip one into the box. The ball makes its way all the way to the backside here. And then watch the composure. Nice little touch-up, gives you a chance to go after the far post. Chris Hubbard had already shifted all the way back across. And in steps Antonio Bustamante. First goal of the season for him. Look at the raw emotion on the youngster's face.
Just 22 years old, an absolute clinical finish. Couldn't have been better. Hubbard had absolutely no chance. But like you said, Presley with all the work, and now it makes it 7, Devon, that Louisville City have been scored on first.
This is what John Hackworth said has really been their Achilles heel, is going down and then having to make their way back. He was proud of the fact that the character was there for his team. They have constantly found a way to claw back in and get points out of those matches, but he said, we're not making it easy on ourselves. We have to find a way to get out in front. Once again, they have been bitten by the same bug.
Murphy deep in the midfield, Presley. He's the one who generated the goal. The referee waving play on that. And he will pull it back to give them the advantage. And you said it, Speedy Williams put on his skates there, and this time he's not taking any chances.
Just coming back across on the goal, and It's the one place you don't want to allow this movement to go from. Coming out of Connor Presley, you know it's going to be whipped in on that right foot of his. But challenge him, make him go all the way to the byline and then bring it back across. The minute that it comes back inside, the danger areas start to open up. That's exactly how it makes its way on the second ball to Antonio Bustamante. And this time around, Speedy Williams smartly not allowing that counterattack to take shape.
Verfurth all the way home.
Antonio, find the space in the middle.
The shout, find the space in the middle. Ground ball played just past the halfway line. Gordon Wild likes to roam around. Spent a spell at the Charleston Battery. 7 goals and 3 assists in 33 appearances for the black and yellow. Like you said, Devon, earlier, a fantastic left foot, but one of those players that can play with either.
For Gordon Wild, one of the issues that he's run into is really the placement of where he's going to be going forward in his career. A guy that within that Atlanta United organization got an opportunity with the Frank DeBoer squad, never broke into the starting 11, but recently had actually made his way quite regularly into the 18. Of course, some quality appearances under Stephen Glass with Atlanta United too. But where was that going to be on the pitch? Was he going to be a wing back in that 3-back system? Was he going to, and you saw that at Charleston Battery where they would use him there, was it going to slot him in as an attacking midfielder with the 4-back for Atlanta United? And just kind of lost in translation a little bit. Another look here where they've moved him into an interior position. Loads of talent, but some players have to have an identity around them, and for Gordon Wild, that's been lacking.
Luke Spencer, outnumbered, manages to keep it. Francis leaves it out wide. McCabe, the Irishman, cuts in a good ball, looping to the back post. Spencer gets a touch on it. And just a case of miscommunication at the back post with Davis the fourth.
Once again, that's a very similar ball we saw around the 15-minute mark. Less space to be occupied here, but still an opportunity to get on the end of it. Niall McCabe whipping this in, and as you mentioned it, Poppy, it's just Luke Spencer and George Davis the fourth not hearing the shouts from each other. Davis has a better look, and I understand he's not as large in stature as that focal point up top in the likes of your number 9, Luke Spencer. But when he's got a backtrack here, the momentum is always going to be a weak ball back across the box, whereas George Davis IV can attack it and really go after a scoring opportunity.
Spencer looked like he fancied his chances. He'll lay it back for Francis. Francis again towards the back post. This time the header is there and it hits the side netting. Jimenez arriving late and created half a chance.
How many times have we seen Oscar Jimenez on the distribution side of this, whipping him in and letting somebody else go get it? This time around, well done by Luke Spencer to just pick his head up and allow the step up from Sean Francis. There's the high line that John Hackworth wanted. Great ball into the back post. And the push by Jimenez just a bit short on that near post run.
Spencer to flick on. Presley. Very busy in this opening 30 minutes. Edwards Jr. opts for the long ball. Murphy on the run, pulled out the sky by Sawahi. The Jamaican with the switch. Jimenez arriving late down the flank. Jimenez to the top of the box. Maybe one too many touches, but he does enough. And Louisville City find themselves with a set-piece opportunity right at the top of the box.
It's whacked right outside the top of the 18 here. Rasmussen with his left foot. Del Piccolo would be missing on this one. Lovely little touch inside. He's becoming more active. Tries to bring this back across his body, and there is a late challenge. It's close, but he does get Jimenez's foot. And now a really dangerous opportunity. Referee walks off the 10 yards, pushes all the boys in the red jerseys back. And you do have a chance if you wanted to go from Rasmussen. Jimenez feels like maybe on that right foot of his, he could go near post, so you always think this is going to be the left footer.
Rasmussen over the dead ball with Jimenez. It's going to be Rasmussen. And no worries at the back for Earl Edwards Jr.
And the good news is he gets this around the wall. Unfortunately, Earl Edwards Jr. never truly threatened. Well done by the goalkeeper to trust his wall and just allow this to develop. Good vision on the play. And
it's knocked on, maybe an opportunity, it's Murphy. The referee having a word there. Oh, Murphy. And he is going to have a quick discussion with the linesman. What did you think there, Devon?
keep an eye out here exactly what decision-making is going to go on between our referee and his AR on the near sideline. The rulebook states that if you do not make an actual play on the ball, this could go into a straight red situation. Hackworth on the sideline saying it's just a foul and they want to leave it at that. But Suahi pulls him down from behind, and it is straight red for Alexis Suahi.
You said it, Devon. The referee there, the man in the middle, Dejan Susak, very quick to dash to his linesman to have the conversation. And an absolute nightmare for John Hackworth's side, down to 10 men in the 30th minute.
There's going to be some frustrated patrons at home in Lou City shirts that are going to disagree, but here's where he gets it wrong. Right there, he does not make a single play on the ball whatsoever. Should have trusted Chris Hubbard. Hubbard was high on his line, had an opportunity to go after Kyle Murphy. That is a much better look. Instead, Suahi pulls him from behind. He does not go to ground, but he does not make a play on the ball. As a player, when you go after another attacker and you do not go after the ball, it is always going to be straight red from the referee.
Alexi Suahi makes his way off in the 30th minute. And now another opportunity. Loudoun United, Alvarez, Gordon Wild at the top of the box. Very dangerous. And I tell you what, Devon, from what we've seen from Gordon Wild, this couldn't be better placement for what we know he's capable of.
The saving grace is that the last man back rule no longer applies in the sense of a penalty. A few years ago, that would have immediately been pointed to the spot. That's not the case. It is a spot foul just outside of the 18. And with the lethal left foot of Gordon Wild, as well as the opportunity to step up on the right-footed side of things of Carlos Alvarez, keep an eye on this near post. Wide open as Chris Hubbard shifting all the way to his right-hand side with 6 in front of him.
Wild and Alvarez, it's going to be Gordon Wild, it takes a deflection. Gordon Wild fancying a bit of trickery, goes for the ground ball. Takes a deflection on the way through, it'll be a corner. And he's across to take this one as well.
Chris Hubbard can thank George Davis IV on this one. Gets that right foot out. Well done by the Lou City wall to just maintain its shape. Down 1-0, good opportunity for Loudoun to make it 2, but the visitors stood strong.
Alvarez again, Gordon Wild over the ball, an out swinging and an in swinging option. Louisville City down to 10 men. Gordon Wild this time with the delivery, an out swinging one, looping over. And Devon, obviously this changes the game in so many ways, but if you're John Hackworth, what are you thinking right now?
You don't panic, first off, because it's only 1 goal. And yes, it's frustration that you've gone into down to 10-man situation, but you still have the personnel to be versatile. That's one of the key things for Lou City is they could have easily, with everybody on the field, lined up in 3. So that is a look that they could go after right now, where you can just drop Taylor into the middle of the field and keep Oscar on the right, Sean on the left, and just make it 3 and condense the field a bit more. You can also rotate Speedy Williams back a little bit and occupy space just in front of the back line. But as you can see so far, it looks like they're just going to remain with 3. And all that's going to happen is Rasmussen will tuck himself into the middle a bit more, and Luke Spencer is going to have to do that much more work up top. The extension that you have out of the 4-back system is no longer going to be counterbalanced by a left and right-sided attack. Now you're going to have to be a bit more direct.
And like you said, the good news is they played with this formation, 3 at the back, earlier on this season. We'll see how this affects the game as we progress. 33 minutes in the books from Audi Field. It's Poppy Miller alongside the ex-German pro Devon Kerr. Thank you for joining us for Sunday Night Soccer. What a match this is turning out to be. Wow. Connects in the middle.
One look you might get out of John Hackworth that he's utilized recently when they were playing in that 3-back. I talked to you about this before the game, where they would utilize Niall McCabe in a right-sided midfielder position, and when they felt like they wanted to or maybe needed to. They drop him into that right back spot. Not the case right now.
Here's Gordon Wild at the top of the box. One too many touches. Gets punished for the loose one.
Come on, Gordo!
Taylor Pay. And again, just another case of miscommunication taken quickly though. Here's Sinclair. Sinclair outnumbered, has the overlapping run, tries to cut back, runs into traffic. George Davis IV back helping defend.
Hey, Taylor!
And that's just what you were talking about, those outside flanks having to drop back to help out the back line.
The good news is both Niall McCabe and George Davis IV are more than happy to help out in those situations. And one look that they can also utilize that you have not seen out of Lou City, John Hackworth talking to him prior to last match, was going after what has been for Sean Francis. Sean Francis being deployed as a center back in his Gold Cup duties. And he said, you know, that's not a look that we've ever utilized. When asked, you know, what kind of direction were you given, he said, you know, I was just going off instinct. And I'm not saying that John Hackworth is going to do that, but if he doesn't want to make a personnel change, he can bring Sean Francis in, bring Oscar to left back position, and then bring Niall all the way over to the right back and create a 4 and bunker down if they go and get a game-tying goal.
Throw a guy out for a red card for a grab.
Spencer, the lone striker,
What do you mean that's not a grab?
Same thing.
with the press, but they can bring it out the back. Here comes Loudoun one more time. Jimenez finds Speedy Williams.
I'm not even blaming
Another good switch of the flank for the visitors. McCabe.
How about one?
Rasmussen forced back. Loudoun starting to apply the pressure.
Ridiculous, man. It's ridiculous.
Jimenez all the way home to Hubbard.
Go, Hurry up! Hurry up!
George Davis IV. And again, we've seen from Louisville so far this match really dictating the tempo of the play. But Loudoun doing a nice job of sitting in defensively. There's the Irishman. Leads Magnus Rasmussen into the attack. Nobody there for him. Safety in numbers from Loudoun.
If you're Loudoun, you want to go after this now. This is a good opportunity to go and get a second and really challenge the defending champions over the next 10 minutes or so. Add insult to injury, get a second goal, and try and put this thing away. The belief that you can give a 10-man squad when you let them hang around continues to grow. They will feed off of that emotion. You talked about not being a lot of fans around right now. When you're on the road, you've gone down to 10, you now have to rely on all your brothers that are surrounding you on the pitch, as well as your manager who's on the near touchline. If they continue to stay within this one-goal spot, that gives them utter chances down the line that they really think that they can go after it and get another goal.
And on the other side of that, if you're Loudoun United, what have you got to do to capitalize on the number-up situation?
You're going to feel hard done on the Kyle Murphy free kick where they couldn't finish things off. Those are the opportunities that are few and far between, especially when you're against a squad that is so defensively sound in the likes of Lou City. Of course, as I say that, they spray a ball all the way across the field. And so just have to be patient. You're not going to get a lot of chances. I promise you, even with Lou City down to 10 men, they are too composed on the ball. They don't poke their head out many a times. So when they do, you have to capitalize.
Carlos Alvarez from Los Angeles joins Loudoun after a season with Las Vegas Lights. 29 games played on the season, 7 goals and 4 assists. A real playmaker in the middle of the park. Here's Presley looking for the 1-2. Presley making just his second start of the season. Spencer with the press. A big task on his hands up top on his own. Firth. Cross to Hawkins, the Englishman.
Movement! Gotta move!
Bustamante. The difference in the match so far today. Harry Hawkins, time and space.
Connor, a little bit to your left, Connor.
Taylor Pay, the one to step straight through it, doesn't get the decision he was looking for. Martinez assessing his options, goes for Wild. It's Gordon Wild, takes one touch, takes another, finds Presley. Presley in the box. Again, the turn is there towards the back post. Murphy with the head, nothing to come of it.
This is well done here by Connor Presley to go after Niall McCabe. Niall McCabe has done his homework. He knows that the youngster's trying to put this on his right foot, and watch just at the tail end of it. Right back on the left, quick little turn. Kyle Murphy put himself in the right spot. Unfortunately, he's drifting to the back post and just can't get enough power behind the header.
Kyle Murphy has been the man for Loudoun United so far this season. 5 goals, 3 assists on the year. The 6'2" striker makes his 17th start tonight. Wild working with Sinclair. It's Kyle Murphy and just runs away from him. Another well-worked attacking opportunity from the home side.
Come on, come on. Let's have one.
McCabe held up on the half line. A big ball looking for Davis the fourth. Davis the fourth can get there. Can he do something with it? That'll do for him.
Well done by George Davis the fourth here to just track this ball all the way down and get a little touch on it. Now an opportunity, just take a breath here. 5 to go before half. Compose yourself. And we mentioned the big bodies of Loudoun United earlier, and these balls being swung in. You no longer have Lexi Suahi at your disposal. Taylor Pay can step in. Shawnee Francis likes to get involved, and of course Luke Spencer.
Jimenez leads the USL Eastern Conference in crosses so far this season. Goes short this time to the back line. Here comes the delivery into the box. Again, takes the deflection. And another corner coming up for Louisville.
This is an area that Lou City takes special pride in. Offensive set-piece situations. They go at many a repetition each and every time out on the training ground, and there's a good look at it. Nice ball out, and then just swinging it back in. They'll switch it up now. Look for a long one all the way back.
Jimenez to the near post, punched away. The danger not over from the home side. McCabe. The pressure dissolves as they go all the way back. Masoso.
Either one of you see that?
The referee
Either one
just
of you?
having a
Just
quick
say
word
no,
there. You can
just
hear
say
on the
no.
sideline. Did
Great,
anybody
I'm glad
see
neither
that?
one of you saw that.
Niall McCabe, the one that's down below, and our referee, Dijon Susak, just having a word. He'll trot over to his linesman to confer.
And the fourth official getting involved, Ryan Martin right there, and John Hackworth and Danny Cruz barking in the fourth here saying, did you see that? How did neither one of you catch it on the tail end of this? Now McCabe coming back across, whips it all the way over, and then just pushes right through him, and then steps on his back. They are 100% correct. This is a foul, and it should be a card. And the referee is just going with a stoppage of play and going to go with a drop ball on the restart.
Niall McCabe, the one that picked up the injury, one of the original members of the inaugural Louisville team. In his 5th season with the club, has played more minutes than any other Louisville player.
I know what you want us to do.
2 goals in the playoffs for him, looking still for his first of the season. Second of the season, sorry. And here he is down this near side now. McCabe into Spencer. Spencer at the top of the box. Speedy Williams this time. The referee waving play on. Magnus Rasmussen volleying around. The bicycle kick is there. Nothing to come to fruition. Sinclair on the far side. Too much on that challenge. It'll be a free kick for Loudoun. Just getting a bit stop-start in this late-going Devon. A minute left until half-time.
Some negative emotion creeping in for Louisville City right now. I can't necessarily blame them based on the hard doings from the referee. That challenge recently on the near touchline where Niall McCabe gets knocked down. And as a referee, you set a precedent. You now need to follow it. If you're going to go by the book on one end, you have to then replicate it on the other, and that just hasn't happened.
Alvarez sitting deep.
Play Nelly.
Martinez. Out wide. Sinclair on the run. Murphy up top as well. And there is confirmation. 3 minutes of added on time in the first half.
There will be a minimum of 3 minutes added to the half.
You can hear the shout to get up. McCabe gets the 1-2. Long ball coming. Can't find the feet of Spencer. And you can see Verfurth just a bit disappointed with that one. Had more time than he thought. Masoso can't connect with Jimenez. And again, just one too many times for Louisville so far in this first half. Just a miscommunication.
You can tell that you could go either way here. This could be a bending run to the outside by Jimenez. That's where Masoso wanted to play this. Jimenez had other ideas. He was cutting in. And the disconnect has just been so frequent in the first half for Lou City.
Here comes an opportunity. It's a rocket of a shot. Punched away by Earl Edwards Jr. And one that just absolutely came out of nowhere there, Devon.
Davis IV tries to go after the goalkeeper. Has the run by Luke Spencer at the top of the 18. I don't mind the look, especially because they haven't had that many chances over the past 20 minutes or so. More importantly, in the first half in general. Just challenge the goalkeeper, that's fine, whether it be from distance or the tactical build-up that they're capable of.
Hubbard, the Louisville native. Out wide for Jimenez. Across the pitch it goes. Presley there with the answer. Sinclair. Murphy on the run. Still Sinclair. This time he fancies it and couldn't quite get over it. Just about a minute left to play of added on time in the first half, and if you're Loudoun, Devon, you've got to be quite pleased with the way things are going.
The good news for them is they've gotten their goal. They're out 1-0. Bad news is Lou City still right there, even down to 10 men, and to be honest, they've created a bit more since going down to 10. They were a bit stagnant in their movements opening 20-25 minutes. Lexi Suahi gets sent off, and now they've had to band together a bit further. We've started to see better movements out of Luke Spencer and George Davis, but the problem is, and we just talked about it, is that disconnect. Can you now find a way, once you've pushed this line high, to get on the end of these crosses? They have to be wary of the counterattack.
Traffic in the box, Luke Spencer there. Again, no redirection. A massive presence up top, Luke Spencer, 6'3", the captain of this side. Led Louisville in goals in 2017, 11 on the season. Finished with 7 on the year last year. 5 up to date, looking for his 6th tonight. The referee having a look at his whistle there, and that will be all we see from the first half. 45 minutes in the books. Devon, your thoughts?
Frustration would be the easy one here to say it, but for John Hackworth, it's Groundhog Day all over again. Unfortunately, not only are they not behind, but now they're down to 10 men. You have to find a way with his experienced group to get them all to buy into the second 45 minutes. They have the talent, now can they execute? For Loudoun United, Ryan Martin, he's got a lot of young players on the field that have not been in this position before. Can you now see out this 1-0 lead over the back-to-back champions?
Stay with us at halftime. Exciting news coming up for both these sides with new stadiums in the works. One closer than the other for Loudoun United. Their last game at Audi Field tonight. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Audi Field. It's halftime here between Loudoun United and Louisville City FC. This game presented by the National Conference Centre. And of course, Loudoun leading Louisville 1-0. We'll get to those highlights very shortly. But first, let's take a look at the Loudoun Stadium. That is very, very close to being ready. We'll take a look at the time lapse here. Their last game tonight in Audi Field, Devon. Very exciting stuff for them.
For the continued growth within United States soccer, this is what has to happen. And we're going to get into all of it. But let's start first and foremost with a comment by Chief Operating Officer Adam Benke from Loudoun United. He says that there are many pieces to the puzzle that is building a brand new soccer club. A stadium from the ground level has to be there. Creating strong partnerships from the beginning is a key place to long-term success. I could not agree more. They have the good fortune right now with the relationship with DC United and the academy system already in place. They've done a lot of the dirty work already. Now they get their own stadium. They get that culture to expand a bit further. This creates more jobs within the community and the opportunity, to be honest, to showcase it on a regular basis outside of Audi Field. And yes, it's great to play where DC United plays, but you want your own home. You want an opportunity to go out there and showcase your pride. That's exactly what's going to happen. Their first game against the Charlotte Independents on August 9th, cannot wait.
Absolutely love that time lapse coming together. And speaking of exciting stuff for Louisville City, they have their own stadium in the works that's set to open in 2020. And it's looking pretty good already.
This is another one of the clubs that has gotten it right from start to finish. Brad Esses, their president, finds a way to get the big names involved, like their mayor, Greg Fisher, who they say beats the drums literally and figuratively every single day. You'll find him in the supporter section with the Coopers hitting those drums. Now, this is going to be in the Butchertown neighborhood. You get an opportunity of what the stadium view has already gone like. Lance McGarvey, take a look at your home, buddy. That was the press box just coming in. And now, how about the virtual renderings? Beautiful here. They broke ground just about a year ago in June of 2018. They will be a capacity of 14,500. And what an awesome spot. Check a look at that video board. That is absolutely massive.
Absolutely phenomenal stuff. A very exciting time in the USL Championship. We've got more action to come. Stay with us. We'll take a look around the Eastern Conference. We'll be back in just a mo.
It's Freighter! What a hit! Crossing in. It's a goal! Keeps it enough to win myself. Omar Salgado, the hometown hero.
Streaking run
from Josh Stubbs.
Cross keeps the winner. Another brace. More.
There's so much pride in this state. There's, I think, been so much pent-up demand in people who have just been looking for a way to shine and come through, and they're so capable. Some of the best people in the world live in New Mexico.
This idea was sort of born from that, why don't we have a section in our stadium that is devoted entirely to the underserved, the underprivileged, maybe kids who would never have the opportunity to come do this, or public servants in our community, firefighters, teachers.
It's really about uniting to the community. It's really about seeing positive outcomes for people. When I see a positive outcome for someone and I see someone start to believe in themselves more and understand what their capabilities are, it makes me feel so happy because I think oftentimes people aren't in a situation where they're able to really fully shine. And we have, individually, we have so much inside. It's probably so much more than we're even allowed or think we can give every day. So let's create a platform that gives and encourages giving and encourages community. And I think if we do that, we can make a real change.
For example, we have the YMCA coming, so we gave 75 tickets there. There was 150 tickets went to Herman Sanchez Community Center, and then the others went to other kids in the community that really would not have this opportunity.
But by the way, if it was gone and someone else wanted to get in, we'd make it happen. It's for everybody.
So it's a way to spread goodwill in our own community to the people who need it most.
It's not just about a game anymore. New Mexico's really out there making a statement.
We wanted everybody from Albuquerque to Santa Fe to the eastern and western corners of the state, southern. You're part of this team. You're a part of this family. It's a movement really more than anything else, and we want everyone to know that they're a part of it. That's what our name means, United.
Phenomenal story there from New Mexico United. Love hearing from all the teams around the USL Championship. And speaking of which, let's take a look now at the USL news and notes. A busy day of action yesterday, Devon, and a couple of big headlines that stand out there.
Really like the streak that we've seen from Birmingham Legion recently. They're continuing their soccer of summer, as they call it. And St. Louis FC finally getting back into their winning ways. First win since April 27th, but the big one has to be the Western Conference boys. Phoenix Rising set a new USL Championship win streak with 11 straight, and it's the manner in which they've done it, taking teams down left and right, pumping the back of the net, but they were tested. A 10-man Tulsa Roughnecks team was not enough, as Yvonne Lambert would find a way to get the breakthrough, coming on as a substitute in the second half. They win 1-0. They have won 11 in a row. And how about that? Nashville SC, that was a big one for me. Indy 11, with all of the firepower they have, they cannot find a way to put goals in the back of the net. Charlotte Independence finally lose for the first time since Mike Jeffries taking over the helm. Let's track all the way back to Friday. Tampa Bay Rowdies on the road, Red Bull 2-0. And of course, Dave Sarakin's squad, they continue that push to a top four spot in the Eastern Conference after the 4-2 victory over Atlanta United 2.
For Nashville SC, their last season in the USL Championship, they played at Nissan Stadium yesterday, a massive crowd for them. Let's see how that affects the standings. The Tampa Bay Rowdies remain at the top of the table despite dropping points against New York Red Bulls 2, but every year, everything seems to be very tight at the top of the East.
For St. Louis FC and Charleston Battery, keep an eye there, only 18 games played, so it's easy to point at them and go, yes, they're bottom of the East. St. Louis has struggled in form. They also had to balance that with the Open Cup, so now can they get back to those ways under Anthony Pulis and the great run of form we saw earlier on in 2019? Mike Anhauser getting a nice victory on the road against Hartford Athletic, and Lou City sitting in that 8th spot. Chance right now to gain 3 points and jump up into 6, but they have some work to be done. 10 men into the second half.
And you can see here the Western Conference standing. Phoenix Rising, not surprisingly, at the top with their 11-game unbeaten streak. Reno 1868 sitting just behind them, 3 points away. But again, another story very tight at the top of this one before it drops off.
Some winning ways have gone to the wayside as well. Reno FC, they lost in the middle to Orange County on Wednesday. And then Fresno actually lost last night on the road to Austin Bold 1-0. Austin Bold, a team that has proven so difficult to break down when you travel there. Unfortunately, they can't find a way to get it done on the road. Marcelo Serrano, though, thinks that they are way ahead of schedule. He'll be happy to be in the number 4 spot right now.
Well, that's how the Western Conference looks. Next, we will see how this match affects the Eastern Conference standings when we come back. The second 45 from Audi Field. It's Loudoun United taking on Louisville City. We'll be back in just a minute. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to Audi Field. It's half-time here between Loudoun United and Louisville City FC. This game presented by the National Conference Centre. It's Poppy Miller alongside the ex-German pro Devon Kerr. Devon, lots to unpack in the first half. We'll start from the very beginning. Several chances for either side in the early going. Let's take a look.
Let's go right into it. The goal, Antonio Bustamante, number 16, trying to find a way to get his scoring campaign forward. Really liked what we saw to Connor Presley in the first half. He did a great job on that right side, pushing the high line. Carlos Alvarez tucking in, occupying the space in the middle of the field. Presley cuts this ball back across his body. Speedy gets flat-footed, cannot make the transition to the winger cutting back in, and then well done by Bustamante. Just picks his head up, very calm, looking for the far post, tucks it away. He gets his first goal of the season. Loudoun gets out in front by 1. Could Lou City then respond? We saw some half chances, but the best opportunity would come in the form of Sean Francis pushing his eye up. First time ball to the back post. Watch the late resurgence by Oscar Jimenez. Very well done to get his head on it. Not known for his goal scoring capability, only standing 5'8", but he gets all of this. Earl Edwards Jr. on the near post can breathe a sigh of relief. And then the unfortunate decision making that got Lexi Suahi in trouble. The first ball is bad. It goes back up over his head. His goalkeeper has an opportunity to get here. They do not communicate appropriately. Suahi, unfortunately, that's where he goes wrong, goes around the neck and pulls him from behind. Yes, he doesn't bring him to the ground, but the problem here is not only is it denial of a goal-scoring opportunity, he doesn't make a play on the ball whatsoever. When that happens, if you do not challenge the attacker and you do not go after the ball, it is always going to be a red card. The referee gets the decision right. Lou City go down to 10 men.
And speaking to John Hackworth earlier this week, one of the keys coming into this game is to be proactive, not reactive. It's now 7 matches where Louisville City have conceded first. What do you think their halftime team talk looked like?
Why? Why have you guys done this to yourselves once again? They have put themselves in a more than manageable situation, but it's negative again, and you just keep having to come back. The good news for them is when you track back on the road at Ottawa, that home match in the comeback 2-1 victory against Nashville SC, on the road to Indy 11, when Charlotte Independence came to town, they have found a way to get points out of these matches. Unfortunately, they've only been able to do it in the form of victory 1. That was that 2-1 match against Nashville SC. Now you're down to 10 men. So any tactical changes going to be made? Well, what you saw so far was they stuck with a 3-back, and basically Niall McCabe on the left side is pinching a little bit. He's not playing an out-and-out left-back position. He's still pushing high, getting involved in the run of attack. But Magnus Rasmussen is starting to float over to the left side, and then Luke Spencer dropping back into the middle in the defensive shape. Going forward, it's a bit different, but now they're going to start to run out of steam. So John Hackworth will eventually have to look to reinforcements off of his bench. He'll look at guys like Brian Onwe, Antoine Openo, who can come off the bench, provide the offensive flair, but also buy into the defensive scheme.
Two players tonight making their debut for Loudoun United. Gordon Wild over the dead ball being one of them, Jacob Green being the other. Gordon Wild, the former Atlanta United, and Atlanta United 2 player signed with DC United were away for the second half from Audi Field. It's Poppy Miller alongside the ex-German pro Devon Kerr. Thank you for joining us for tonight's match. And what a match it's starting to be. 2 substitutions at the half. On comes Brian Ownby for one of them. And Openo the other one. So 2 changes. And you were just saying, Devon, for Louisville, not the problem. They're dropping back to the 3-man at the back line. But how does this change things with these substitutes?
You can immediately see something did come into play that I said might happen, and where they have tucked Niall McCabe into this right back position and brought Oscar Jimenez all the way to the left-hand side. Ownby will then go in front of him, and they are rotating into a 4-back system. So keep an eye. Sean Francis is going to be playing that center back role that we talked about. He was employed at for Jamaica, and Taylor Pay just inside of him. So they will try and remain condensed, but again, find a way to not only get Luke Spencer going, but the substitutes who have fresh legs that they can chase this game a bit more.
Openo on your screen there, one of the substitutes. McCabe whips one in, it's a chance for Ownby! Ownby finds the equaliser, but it is offside. Heartbreaking stuff for Brian Ownby, who thought he'd netted his first goal of the season.
This is the fast start that you want. Go after the home squad right away, you'll get a better look. That is really close. I'll tell you what, there's a quick little shift here by Harry Hawkins to step across. That looked like Ownby had it level. Really difficult to tell from the angle, but the linesman insists that he is 100% in an offside position.
Loudoun United get away with one. The scoreline remains the same. Well, Edwards Jr. on your screen there. These 2 teams meeting just last month. It was Louisville City to take the 2-1 victory and all 3 points. McCabe all the way home for Hubbard. Gordon Wild with the press. Too much pressing, says the referee. See John Hackworth on your screen there, just having a word with the 4th official.
Yeah, now.
The good news for John Hackworth is he does have the ability to play mad scientist. In that stretch of the good run of form earlier on this season where they only had 1 loss and 9, I said to him, you know, the good news is you guys are finding ways to win. The problem is everybody's starting to come back healthy. They're good problems to have. What will this team look like going forward? And unfortunately, he said, you know, spoke too soon. Now he's dealing with more injuries and another fluctuation. And a lot of times when you get so many different systems, it's difficult to recognize where your responsibilities lie. Sometimes you're seeing that with Lou City.
Here's Jimenez. Whips one towards the back post. Openo is there just over the top of the bar again on that occasion. A push in the back, a free kick for Loudoun.
Notice in the first half and now coming into the second, some pretty decent opportunities coming when they go after the youngster Jacob Green. We saw Oscar Jimenez in the first half, that great ball by Francis. This time he whips it in with his left foot. And just watch Openo, the shove on the back shoulder here. He has a chance to continue the momentum and get up and put a header on goal. Unfortunately, his arms stretch out, and the referee blows the whistle.
Antoine Openo, the Frenchman from Paris. Joined the side from a trade from the Tampa Bay Rowdies in June. Reunited with his former Philadelphia Union coach, John Hackworth. Taylor Pay. Good bit of trickery to set himself up. And once again, Taylor Pay in the attack. Denied at the very last second. And it will go in favor of the home side. Devin, I wish people at home could see your face right now.
You're going to get a second look here. I don't understand how this is not pointed to the spot. Taylor Pay, lovely technical footwork, ball out in front. He's going to play it, and he steps in front of him. So this is where there's always a gray area here, because keep an eye on the body. You can actually see that Harry Hawkins does get in front of Taylor Pay. The problem is the movement had already been coming out of the attacker. A lot of times you'll see a referee give the momentum to the likes of Taylor Pay. Not the case here, and he decides to side with Harry Hawkins.
Here's Brian Ownby, takes a touch into the box, one too many. And it'll fall for Presley to clear from the back. Louisville really on the front foot, out of the gates for the second half. Speedy Williams on your screen there. Ryan Martin, big task on his hand with the MLS affiliate, working closely with DC United. Opener gives that one away. Well, Devin, we've spoke a lot about what Louisville's halftime team talk will look like. But if you are Ryan Martin, you've got to be quite pleased still with the way things are going. What has got to be the key for them in this second half?
They have to be careful that they don't let up a goal right now. There's a shot from Ryan Martin on the sideline. Feels like the referee should already be giving Opano a card. And he said, how many warnings is he going to get? But you can see that the energy level from the visitors is much higher here to start the second half. That's been the case in their previous fixtures, where they'll fall behind, or there's some unfortunate events that come into play, and then they start to pick up their play. Exactly the case for Lou City, opening 6 minutes of the second half. And I want to continue this run and keep going after Jacob Green. There's a lot of opportunities after this young left back. Remember, only 16 years of age, an academy player who most recently has been playing with the U16s, U17s. Inexperience for him. Not getting Luke Spencer in trouble here as they maintain that back line. But a guy who actually trialed with FC Nuremberg in August of last year, decided to come back with the DC United Academy.
Here's an opportunity. Murphy knocking at the door. Murphy takes it off his feet, lays one back for Sinclair. Sinclair puts it on his strong foot, just wide. Sinclair with a fantastic opportunity. Can't find the back of the net.
Taylor Pay with some poor decision making here, to be honest. When this ball gets out to his foot, you got to release it. Instead, turns it over to Kyle Murphy. Did just enough to get it over to Orlando Sinclair, trying to pick out that far post. Could not do so.
Orlando Sinclair joining the side after spending last season in his native Costa Rica. And Devin, easy to forget that for this team, their first year in the USL Championship.
A lot of the conversation about the expansion teams are about the boys in the West, and why not? You have teams like New Mexico United, El Paso Locomotive, and Austin Bold moving their way up the rankings.
Well worked into the penalty spot, gets the head on it. A brilliant save, just a touch from Chris Hubbard to keep the home side out. Phenomenal stuff there. The danger not over. Murphy for Sinclair. Still Murphy. Again, some pushing and shoving right under the referee's nose. Alvarez does enough. Alvarez looking for space in the box. Ground ball for Murphy. And there is going to be a corner. Devin, hold your breath moment here. Let's have another look.
All you young kids at home, watch the technique by Chris Hubbard, former Notre Dame goalkeeper and all-star. Lovely movement back over, plants his feet, and then just pushing it without extended left hand all the way to his left side. The spirit of the Fighting Irish ever present with Chris Hubbard. Beautiful save by the goalkeeper.
Once again, an out-swinging and in-swinging option. Wild. Alvarez there. Wild big ball to the back post. Sinclair gets a knock on it. And Chris Hubbard got to be a save of the week contendee. Traveling ball will bring it back. Hubbard. Well, you were just talking about Jacob Green earlier in the broadcast, Devin. He had a fantastic run there to set up an attacking opportunity. Here we go at the other end of the park.
Gain a little ground.
Taylor Pay.
Duck in, Orlando, duck.
All the way through Earl Edwards Jr.
Taylor, can't be a flat ball, tell him.
Ownby. Luke Spencer. The duo up top. A couple of substitutes from John Hackworth at halftime. If you're just joining us, Louisville playing with 10 men. McKay, big lofty switch. Ownby on the run, it's a brilliant touch, just too much in the end. Hawkins, Verfuth. Well, Devin, it's been an exciting match so far. You've got to say both teams that have had chances. A phenomenal opportunity as well, a penalty shout in there.
A good look now for Lou City as they are starting to find a bit of a balance going forward, where not only are they going after Jacob Green, but now trying to stretch the field of play with Brian Ownby on that left side. You can see the center of the field starting to become more condensed, sitting 4-5 and a block in the middle defensively, and then trying to explode going forward.
McCabe working in the middle. Speedy Williams. Spencer dropping back. Here's the Irishman. Spencer, the captain tonight. Patience from Louisville. Jimenez for Ownby. Brian Ownby in the box now. Pattered away. The danger not over for the home side. McCabe. Swinging ball. Earl Edwards Jr. first there.
Really well done by Niall McCabe to get this back into the box. But it's got to be the confidence in the build-up from Lou City. Really well worked. Let's go back to that penalty one more time. Taylor Pay getting around Hawkins. And this is where you have to question, is it going to be a shooting movement from Taylor Pay, or do you give the credit to Hawkins? On second look, Hawkins does a good job. There's a little tug on the right arm, but he gets his momentum in front of Taylor Pay. I promise you, the Lou City fans are not going to be happy with the referee, but upon further review, the decision is right.
Harry Hawkins, one of the most experienced members on this side, 26 years old. And with striker up top, Kyle Murphy, who also matches his age. Other than that, a young side out here tonight for Ryan Martin. Approaching 60 minutes in the books. Bit of physical game, as you can see there, Devin.
Of course, bouncing back and forth, and that's only going to continue. You just have to be careful if you're Lou City that you don't let that override you on the emotional aspect of things. Openo made friends with the referee early on. He started to settle it down.
Sinclair, you can see their confirmation
Good decision, Greeny.
of the red card for Sawahi.
You go.
Wrong decision made. Gave him the early departure in the 30th minute. Presley under some pressure from Jimenez. Presley joining the side with USL experience, most recently with San Antonio FC. Alvarez has the likes of Gordon Wild around him, and he will take the free kick. You can see the heads of Louisville dropping down there, disappointed with the decision. And here comes an opportunity for the home side.
Sean Francis doesn't agree with Ejan Suzak in the decision. But there is a Bit of a grab on Carlos Alvarez. You can see the Lou City players just asking, come on, where's the ball? Let's get things back to it. That's the spot. Keep an eye on the whistle as our head referee get things going back off. He'll walk the 10 and then really like these two over the ball. Gives you some really versatile looks going forward out of Gordon Wild and Carlos Alvarez.
Hubbard has kept his side in it on a couple of occasions. Numbers in the box for the home side. The straight strike from Gordon Wild. Hubbard forced to make the save.
If Lou City is able to get one back, that man right there, someone knows him dinner, or at least an adult water or two. Some great movement here in the second half. We saw the save earlier on, but this time he had to cheat over a little bit and account for Harry Hawkins on the trailing run. If it was going to be the aerial battle, instead they go direct. Great save on the near post.
Gordon Wild with an absolute rocket of a shot. Here's Ownby, the 29-year-old Virginia native. No goals in this campaign so far. Still searching for his first one. He's potent in postseason play, en route to their USL title last season. Presley brought down on the far side. How impressed have you been with Presley so far in tonight's match?
Well, the good news for Loudoun is I think a lot of guys have looked good going forward. Unfortunately, opening 15 minutes here in the second half, they really haven't done much. And you got to give credit to Lou City sitting in that nice defensive shape. But with all of the talent that you have, you've got Connor Presley and that nice relationship he's creating with Carlos Alvarez, Gordon Wild, Orlando Sinclair. You got to find a way to get these guys on the ball more frequently.
Gordon Wild will leave it this time for Alvarez. Straight to the back post, nobody home, dangerous one into the box, falls to the top. The strike is there. Again, completely open at the back post, Evan.
That's the second time. There was the strike just before where Gordon Wild had a rip, where you had Harry Hawkins available if they wanted to. This time it's Colin Verfurth, just allowed to sit down, have a cup of tea, and put it back across the 6. Nobody challenging the big center back. You have to tell me why this is allowed to be continued on. There are just so many chances for this Loudoun United team to go get their second one. And Lou City not doing themselves any favors.
Getting a bit chippy down below us. An opportunity now for Louisville. Jimenez, the one over the dead ball. McCabe and Speedy Williams both sent away. Jimenez into the mix. First to the races. And maybe an opportunity for a counter. Can they work it quick enough? Gordon Wild leading the charge. And Louisville do a nice job dropping in to stop the flood. Alvarez for Sinclair. Good 1-2 to find the space. Knocks it out wide. Gordon Wild, can he find the delivery? He can, but offside. And there's going to be another substitution. The youngster getting ready to make his way on. Moses Nyman. Orlando Sinclair, the man who will end his shift there. Moses, just 15 years old. And somebody that has found a lot of playing time already so far this season.
And the Saprissa product, not his best shift, but still did a good job trying to keep that right side at bay. George Davis, the fourth, and now opener was always going to be a tough ask of Orlando Sinclair. And now an opportunity where Nyman will come into the middle of the field. You would imagine that Carlos Alvarez will now occupy the space held by Orlando Sinclair.
Nyman, just 15 years old, the US Youth International. McCabe takes an awkward one. And a deflection at that.
Hey, let's go!
Just a stroke of unluck for Loudoun. Brings up an opportunity for the visitors to whip something up. Jimenez.
14 and 9 out for Louisville.
Led the side in assists last season. with 13 and the season before. The exact same number. Looking to set one up on a plate right now. Jimenez with the delivery. Unorthodox, gets the head. Pinball in the box. Jimenez once again. Away at the near post this time. McCabe trying to get to it. Rolling through comes the centre back. Still battling. Throwing down this near side. John Hackworth as well. Devon getting ready to make another substitution.
It'll be the last one of the night. Number 3 will come with Luke Spencer having a seat. He's put in a boatload of miles on those legs of him. Still trying to acquire full game fitness for Luke Spencer. We've seen him, but not necessarily a full 90. He'll take a seat once again. Abdujam will now come on and have a go of it with the last 25 minutes. Still looking for the equalizer. Really like the energy just then out of Masoso coming out of midfield, doing a good job. He always sits back from set piece opportunities, but he recognized the space and he went after the youngsters on the back line.
Abdujam, 2 goals, 1 assist on the season so far. Flying into the box, to the top it goes, worked around Presley. Knocks it out. Loudoun trying to weather the storm at the minute. Ownby. Presley's there with the pressure. Ownby can get the ball in. And nobody there at the near post.
Ryan Martin playing musical chairs with that Orlando Sinclair substitution. Carlos Alvarez has gone out to the left. Gordon Wild now on the right wing. And Antonio Bustamante, the goal scorer, his first one on the season. He now gets to sit in the 10 role with Nyman alongside Nelson Martinez. So 5 new positions for these guys. And yes, he can rotate them around, but it's an interesting move when you're sitting up 1. The manager obviously looking for a spark here in the second half.
Yes, Los. Come on, Abdu.
And a shout from both coaches down below, dishing their instruction out to either side. Ryan Martin tasked with a difficult season, of course. Being an MLS affiliate has so many perks, but also an ever-changing, rotating lineup to work with.
You see it out of Loudoun United, Bethlehem Steel, New York Red Bull too. That's obviously just what's going on in the Eastern Conference, Atlanta United too as well. And you have to give them credit. You have coaches like John Hackworth who, although he's got a revolving door of issues right now, he knows who his personnel is going to be on a regular basis. Loudoun United, that's not the case whatsoever. Ryan Martin having to navigate a squad that, to be honest, is pushing up in 40 of players who have had the opportunity to put the shirt on this year. From an appearance standpoint, they're hovering right around 35. And that's a really tough ask of a guy who's just coming in, approaching the 10-game mark since stepping in as manager.
Nyman to the top of the box. Alvarez out wide. An opportunity for Green, who knocks one in. The lone striker comes flying in there. And it looks like Kyle Murphy could be in trouble.
This has to be a card. If the referee wants to get a hold of this game and start making some better decisions, there it is. Well done. Kyle Murphy, not only is he a little bit late coming in, he swings this leg around on the challenge right at the top of the 18.
And on the stroke of that, a substitution coming out of it. And it will be Kyle Murphy to make his way off. He's caused havoc up top tonight for Loudoun. The captain will give his armband to Harry Hawkins of the back line, and on comes Elvis Amo.
Well done by Kyle Murphy. Both he and Luke Spencer have really pushed themselves here. A lot of running to be done in the defensive shape, and Amo now coming over. The Ghanaian gets a chance. He's got some kind of pedigree behind him. We'll get another look at this tackle. Ball just gets away from him. I'll tell you what, the way things have gone and the challenges that we've seen coming out of the USL Championship this year, we've seen guys be shown red for less than that.
Referee just having a word with the substitute who's just come on the pitch. McCabe Lengthy ball, sky high, nothing to come of it. Mo with his first appearance of the season for Loudoun.
Yeah, big Elvis.
And here down below, Ryan Martin with some instruction for the substitute. Edwards Jr. taking a couple of seconds too long for the referee's liking. Taylor Pay, out wide from McCabe. McCabe trying to go direct.
Gotta go. Gotta go. Somebody go.
And for Loudoun, they're just trying to take down any couple of seconds they can get. Ownby, Jimenez.
Both of these goalkeepers have to be quite proud of the display they're putting on. Both Chris Hubbard and Earl Edwards Jr. have been asked multiple questions tonight. Quality answers every single time.
Two balls on the pitch down below us. Earl Edwards up for the occasion. Jimenez very busy down that wing. You can see that the fouls conceded. Louisville 13. Been a bit of a chippy game so far. 20 minutes left to go. Ownby takes a touchback. Finds Jimenez at the top of the box. Jimenez with the strike. And no worries. Earl Edwards Jr. And again, no rush to get us back underway.
This one just never had enough on it. It's always going to be the near post. Well done by Jimenez to get it on that left foot of his. Unfortunately, trying to bring it all the way back across his body and get enough on it too. It's going to have to go high, not the case.
Nyman, the youngster, fancies his chances. Still Nyman takes a touch, almost finds an open goal. Nobody there to knock it in. Alvarez into the mix once again. Taylor Pay opts to work it out the back. Here's Speedy Williams. Ownby. Moses Nyman just all over the park so far. Love the confidence from the youngster. It looks like we're going to see another card here. Let's have another look at this, Devon.
Well done by Nyman. Good job. And you know, that's twice that outside left back position has been questioned. So Shawnee Francis in the first half, when Speedy Williams was tracking back on the goal, both get caught flat-footed. Fortunately enough, this time around, Chris Hubbard able to bail him out, and well done by the referee to step back in here. Nelson Martinez goes into the book in the 72nd minute for the counter-attacking option that was Lou City.
Ownby into the mix, the redirection is there. Couldn't get it on frame. Knocking at the door is Jean, the substitute.
You could see that Taylor Pay on the backside wants a deflection coming off here from the Loudoun player. Does he get one? Abdou-Jam, it does. It comes off of Harry Hawkins. Abdou-Jam once again trying to stretch this back line. Everything's been in one-off situation. Has not been a lot of looks where they got the ball out in front of him, let him run. That's an area they'd like to explore.
Looping ball forward, Ownby. Presley close behind. Connor Presley can't do enough, stabs at it still. Brian Ownby now in the box. And just into the side netting. Connor Presley getting caught just a step behind Ownby there. Approaching 15 minutes left to go of tonight's match. Loudoun United hosting the two-time USL champions Louisville City. And of course for Louisville, Devon, every week, week in, week out, coming in with a target on the backs. They are the ones to beat.
Some frustration continuing to boil over here for the reigning champions. Behind once again. Can they find a way to get an equalizer? As you mentioned, just over 15 to go. In recent memory, they've really struggled with that. Of course, last week, the July 20th matchup against Bethlehem Steel, the wonder goal coming out of outside back Walter Cortez. And now trailing again to a secondary side. Has an affiliation with an MLS squad. Is there an answer?
MLS squad, DC United, who drew with Chicago Fire yesterday. Like we mentioned earlier in the broadcast, played Marseille on Wednesday night. An opportunity, as Ryan Martin was saying, for these youngsters to get a taste against some of the biggest names in the world. Jimenez applying the pressure, Wild into the box. Presley joins in. Here's the German, former Maryland Terp. Sean now the lone striker, Brian Ownby to follow up. Ownby. Presley with work to do. Ownby ground ball in. No worries for Hawkins. Safety first from the centre back.
Great defensive work here by Connor Presley to just get a little nudge and push Brian Ownby off his run. It's not something that's going to show up regularly on the stat sheet, but there was a lot of space here, and Brian Ownby's got wheels on him. It shows you how quick Connor Presley is, not just in his first step, but in long-distance situations.
Jimenez, the strike is there. Earl Edwards Jr. cradles it. The DC United loanee, former UCLA product. He's had a spell in the USL prior to this with Orange County. And of course with the MLS, Orlando City.
Drop, Carlos. Nick.
Referee Dejan Susak just bringing that one back. We're hearing there's going to be a final substitution of tonight's match. There's the confirmation of that. Colin Verfurth making his way off. A defensive change there, Devon.
Now Ryan Martin's going to pack it in just a little bit. Verfurth struggling on that back line, and Saravia coming on. Alexson, another one of the teenagers within this DC United Academy, getting an opportunity with Loudoun now. An El Salvador U17 player as well, and well done by Verfurth, just running out of steam at the tail end of this as Abdou Jam started to make his presence felt.
Big task now for the 18-year-old Virginia native. Spent 4 years with the DC United Academy. Getting minutes in the USL Championship. Straight into the action away by Hawkins. Gordon Wild looking to go at the other end. Gordon Wild still on the run, looking for the ball back. Is Gordon Wild desperately wanting one in his debut with Loudoun. Didn't happen on that occasion. If you're just joining us now, there's confirmation. Louisville playing with 10 men. Openo into the mix, the head is there again. Earl Edwards Jr. up for the challenge. Very back and forth stuff. Wild offside on that occasion. Well, if you are just tuning in without seeing that graphic, Devon, do Louisville look like a side that are playing with 10 men to you?
Definitely not. You can see that they still feel like they have a say in this game. Loudoun United have to be careful, to be honest. I like the counter-attacking option from Gordon Wild, but you don't want to overcommit too many numbers.
There is the foul. Jam, the lone striker, the substitute. A college standout at Connecticut. Led the Huskies in goals during his time there. A renowned goal scorer. End-to-end stuff as of late. Pay. Into the feet of Speedy Williams. Back and forth in the middle of the park. Wild.
There's the shout from Ryan Martin. Was just about to say, surprised that he's not telling his boys, let's slow things down a little bit here and knock it around. Going side to side isn't the worst look right now.
Gordon Wild fancies a bit more, though. A good piece of trickery. In comes the delivery, too close to Hubbard. And here another shout 10 minutes left to go here at Audi Field. Loudoun United taking on Louisville City. It's Poppy Miller alongside the ex-German pro Devin Kerr. Thank you for joining us for Sunday Night Soccer.
Keep tucking in, Gord. Carlos, inside, Carlos. Behind us.
Martinez. Another Virginia native, DC United Academy product.
Help him in, Juan, help him. Help him. Help him.
We're talking about how difficult it is to keep the consistency with this side, but it helps when you have the DC United Academy products making up the bulk of this side.
That's what any club is striving for. It's not just, okay, we're introducing new personnel. It's the fact that they have this plug-and-play type system where the ideology starts up top and then there's a pecking order, so that when you do go from DC United to Loudoun United and then funnel down through the academy ranks, everybody understands what their role is supposed to be. That's why you get players like Antonio Bustamante or Moses Nyman who can play multiple positions on the field without missing a beat.
Ryan Martin saying earlier this week how close he is with Ben Olsen as well, sitting on the bench with him at any opportunity. Gordon Wild again fancies his chances and denied by Chris Hubbard. A corner kick coming for Loudoun.
A conversation between Niall McCabe and Sean Francis here when the ball gets cut back inside. These are just some tired legs right now. Lou City chasing this game. Gordon Wild recognizes that he still has a bit of a go here. Nice little cut inside, going with the left foot. Great save on the near post.
Gordon Wild knocking at the door. He'll trot across to take this corner.
Attack the ball, Elvis.
Into the final 10 minutes of tonight's match from Audi Field in the nation's capital. Gordon Wild, the German, just 23 years old. In swinging ball towards the back post, the head is there. And Chris Hubbard scoops it up.
Back in, back in, back in.
Lou City gets really lucky, to be honest, inside 10 minutes. A really good opportunity for Loudoun United for their substitute. See Elvis up top. Loads of space on the back post. Once again, some poor marking and set piece situations by Lou City.
Alvarez all the way back to Hawkins, who picked up the captain's armband, and here we go. Again, an opportunity for Loudoun. Nothing to come of it. Couldn't quite cut in. Bustamante, again the one with the chance. Flick on there from Alvarez. Forces Hubbard high. Open up. Back to McCabe.
Fix the line, fix the line.
And again, just uncharacteristic out the back. I think to your point, Devin, some tired, fatigued legs creeping in here tonight.
You do have some quality efforts coming from some individual players in the likes of Napa Masoso. Just now, Hubbard can't get it right, but the central midfielder bails him out a little bit. Now a chance.
Brian Ownby, outnumbered, lays it across to the Irishman, who can get there in the nick of time. A good ball straight into the box. Ownby is there. And Presley, maybe a step too late with the press, but gets away with it.
Brian Ownby a bit surprised that this ends up on his foot. There's a nice little run coming out of the midfield from Speedy Williams. Quality distribution from the right flank out of Niall McCabe. Unfortunately, just can't finish it off. Nice rotation. Again, this all started from Masoso on the near side. Goes back left. Brian Ownby sprays it outside. And good composure by Niall McCabe. Just take a touch, collect his thoughts, whips this one in. And there it is. Speedy Williams just obstructing the view a little bit by Brian Ownby on the back post.
An opportunity here. Absolute phenomenal save. Does enough, but can't do enough for the second one. Elvis Amel, the substitute, makes it two for Loudoun United. A goal in his debut. It doesn't get much better than that, Devin.
Anytime you get a chance to step onto the pitch. You want to show your manager exactly why you have been given the nod. This guy was announced as a signing earlier today. Elisamo getting an opportunity. There's a great little cut in by Nyman. Chris Hubbard, you have to wonder why he doesn't come with his hands here. Goes to ground with his feet, then cannot get back up and track back over. Could have come much harder on the attacking midfielder. Instead, he gets it wrong, but the forward gets it all right. That should be the dagger in the coffin.
Well, you thought Hubbard had done just enough to throw Moses Nyman off. And Mo, with the follow-up, finds the back of the net. He makes it 2 for Loudoun United. And brilliantly said, the dagger in the coffin for the reigning champions. 10 men, 2-0 down in the final 5 minutes of tonight's match.
Ryan Martin still asking from his squad. He said, come on, let's finish things off. And for as great as Chris Hubbard has been, and yes, there's no favors done to him, as he now has to come off his line once again. He gets the decision right in that aspect. Unfortunately, he leads with his feet, and that's where he has to be smarter. Referees will take care of the goalkeeper, especially when you're in such close proximity to the net. 6-8 yards out, you can lead with your hands here. And if a player comes with a boot, I understand you're putting yourself in a danger area, but it's a much better look. You either get a hand on it, make a save, or the referee's gonna blow a foul. Instead, Loudoun United get their second of the night.
Hubbard caught between two minds. You'd think he'd done enough. Here comes Louisville. Takes the deflection. And luckily, Earl Edwards Jr. denies it going out for a corner. And if you are Ryan Martin, Devon, you've got to be absolutely thrilled with the way things are going for their last match at Audi Field here tonight.
You'll be happy with the fact that they were able to fend off some of these pushes by Lou City.
Jam gets his pocket picked by Hawkins. Brian Obi wants to get it in quickly on the far side. Not too many options around him. The run up and delivery is there. And an easy head out the back. And Mo, maybe time for one more one-on-one opportunity. He lays it off for the youngster. Moses Nyman makes it 3 for Loudoun United. Sunday fun day for the home side. Just 15 years old, and he makes it 3.
Lou City chasing the game a bit further, and they get themselves into trouble. So many numbers being thrown forward. It was always going to be a chance that a third would come, and it does come in the form of Moses Nyman. Unselfish by Bustamante. Shawnee Francis out in front here, and watch this ball. Is it played laterally? Yes, it is. To be fair, Nyman is actually trailing behind him. He's not blown in the offside position. And the far post run was so high from Taylor Pay, did not have enough energy to get back in. Loudoun United get 3, and you better believe they've got their 3 points.
The coaching staff absolutely thrilled down below us. Ryan Martin there on the sideline. You said it best, very unselfish play from Bustamante. And all 3 goal scorers had something to do with that goal in the run to set it up. Moses Nyman, what a night for the youngster. Jimenez into the box. And Loudoun United firing on all cylinders here tonight in Washington, D.C. Earl Edwards Jr. just pumps it forward.
Come on, Mo! Come on, Mo!
Can they keep the intensity for the final 2 minutes of regulation here tonight? Ownby still gas in the tank.
Come on, get up, great.
Hey, Elvis, go!
Maybe some tired legs creeping in from the back line of Loudoun United. Deceivingly warm temperatures out here tonight, just below 90 degrees. Oscar Jimenez, the set-piece specialist, over to whip one in. Jimenez, an outswinger with the delivery. Something gets knocked on it, nothing to come of it. And now if you are Earl Edwards Jr., you are just in no rush to get that ball back in play.
And all the Loudoun United players will take all of their time. Not much left in this one, and 100% continue to make themselves relevant in the Eastern Conference playoff push. Quality victory over Lou City, and for John Hackworth, frustration will start to boil over here as his boys felt like they had a bit of momentum. Unfortunately, doing it in the form of 10 men and not a lot of movement at your disposal. Tactically quite difficult to break down when you are condensed in this manner. Had a couple quality opportunities, just couldn't close things out, and they let the youngsters get two right at the tail end of it.
2 minutes of added on time here at Audi Field. Confirmation of that down below us. Interestingly, for Loudoun as well, have a better record on the road coming into today's game than they do at home. Only one win on home soil coming into tonight. Maybe one last push for Louisville, who just haven't been able to connect things today. Well, Devon, if you're John Hackworth down on the sideline, what is going through your head right now?
Just want to get on the bus and get out of here. You're frustrated with everything that's gone on. You'll hear from him that he's not going to be happy with the referee's decision. I can understand that. At the end of the day, though, you still have to execute. They did have opportunities in this match. There's some frustration by Danny Cruz, of course, and the rest of the coaching staff. They just couldn't put it in the back of the net. Once again, a sentiment that's rang true so many times before, as Brian Ownby showing some of that frustration. And there's a shout from John Hackworth. Brian, come on, man. Got to be better than that.
A full run to hit him in the back.
Just as you were talking about frustration, Brian Ownby showing mustard in extra time. Into the final minute of tonight's match now. Again, good sportsmanship down below of the two. Let's have another look at this, Devon.
And there it is. There's just no reason for it. Jacob Green, the youngster, getting the full force of Brian Ownby.
Ownby in his second season with Louisville. Jimenez. Home to Hubbard. The referee keeping an eye on his watch. Hubbard, one last-ditch attempt. Ownby. Louisville, of course, down to 10 men after the sending off of Sawahi in the first half.
Stay matched up, Harry!
Into the box it goes, away from the back line, and that is going to be all we see from Audi Field. A field day for Loudoun United. 3-0 against the two-time defending champions, Louisville City. Devon Kerr, your final thoughts.
Some frustrating words by the two managers, obviously. Difficult for John Hackworth going down to 10 men. They'll figure those things out as they are both professionals. For Lou City, back to the drawing board. Going to be quite frustrating for John Hackworth as they are now in uncharted territory. You have to track all the way back to 2015, where they lost back-to-back games 3 times. They did not do it in 2016, nor did they do it in their championship seasons of 2017 and 18. They have now done it twice this year. Frustration for the champions, but for Loudoun United, quality home win. Only the second time this season they're able to get 3 points. They did it in the form of a lot of teenagers. They should hold their heads high.
A fantastic showing from the youngsters. Just see, you said it best as we concluded the match. Frustration from Louisville in DC tonight. We have so much to talk about, so much to look at as the handshakes happen down below. 3-0 the final score. Don't go anywhere. We'll take a look at tonight's highlights when we return back in a mo. Welcome back to Audi Field here in Washington, D.C. Full-time, Loudoun United 3, Louisville City FC 0. Poppy Miller alongside the ex-German pro Devon Kerr. Devon, so much to talk about. Let's start from the very beginning as we take a look at tonight's highlights.
22nd minute, Antonio Bustamante, the recipient of some clever play by Connor Presley on this near touchline. Great little cut back in, and the initial ball doesn't make its way to the trailing run of Carlos Alvarez, but it's a great job by the youngster, just holding his thoughts, taking his time. No one steps to him. He said, okay, you're gonna give me this much room, I will make you pay. First goal of the season for Antonio Bustamante. Shocking that it took this long for him to hit the back of the net. He puts his boys out in front by 1. The response had to be immediate. Unfortunately, it comes on the wrong side. It's negligence by Lexi Suahi, and it's the trailing run that gets him in trouble. It's a long ball out of Earl Edwards Jr. The first header is where he gets this wrong. He tries to play it backwards to Chris Hubbard, and then there's the tug from behind. As we mentioned, he does not play the ball. That is always going to be a red card. The referee gets the decision right. They can't convert the set piece at the top of the box. They go down to 10 men. Frustration for John Hackworth once again. 7 games in a row, they have had to find a way to come from behind. What would it be? Lovely ball in by Niall McCabe. Great touch by Brian Ownby, but wait, he's offside. Questionable at that. He looks like Brian Ownby is flat on the back post run. Colin Verfurth playing that high line. He steps up just a little bit. He and Harry Hawkins having a conversation. Linesman blows it off, and then the questionable one. The initial thought here is that this is a penalty, but upon further review, it's not just stepping in front of someone striking the ball. A position is established right there. He actually gets in front of the player before he goes into a striking move. Very well done by Hawkins. There's a foul blown the other way. No penalty called. What's it going to be? 2v1, 3v1. Great cut back across. Can he finish things off? There's a little touch. Hubbard leads with his body. Should have gone with his hands. And the acquisition that just happened this morning in the likes of Elvis Amo makes it 2 for Loudoun United.
The youngsters were getting involved, firing on all cylinders, and it didn't stop there as the floodgates open. And here is Moses Nyman, just 15 years old. Doesn't get much easier than that finish.
How about Moses Nyman, who was actually the one who was going to have the strike, laid it off on the second goal. This time around, he gets the favor repaid from guess who? Antonio Bustamante. What kind of shift did this kid put in? The local boy from Fairfax, and at the end of it, would there be any extracurricular activities? No, the fuse is lit, but no fireworks between Ryer Martin and John Hackworth. Frustrations boiling over, both coaching staffs getting involved, but at the end of the day, Loudoun United get 3 goals and 3 points to continue to move their push up this Eastern Conference.
Let's take a look at the full-time stats. Obviously the biggest one, maybe the most shocking one if you're just joining us now. Loudoun United 3, Louisville City 0. What else stands out to you there, Devon?
We talked about efficiency for Lou City, and could they find a way to maximize their chances? No, Loudoun United could though. Yes, it's 50-50 split in possession. Half of their shots hit the target, and 30% of them hit the back of the net. That is something you always want to go after. Really impressive from the youngsters. We said that there were 5 players in the starting 11 that were 21 years or younger. How would they respond? They stood up to the task and more against the back-to-back champions. Lou City, on their hand, will be frustrated with their performance. They once again pushed so many chances to the wayside and allowed this young squad to stay in it. They made them pay down the stretch.
Loudoun United keep their playoffs hopes alive with 3 points tonight as they say bon voyage to Audi Field. We say bon voyage to you. Thank you so much for joining us for what's been an absolute fantastic game. On behalf of Poppy Miller, Devon Kerr, the entire broadcast crew, what a thrilling match. We'll see you next time.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.